The following is a live presentation of News Channel Nebraska Sports.
Sports Now State Basketball Show, brought to you by Midwest Bank.
It was number 1 Winnebago taking on number 8.
The following is a live
Now State Basketball Show, brought to you by Midwest Bank.
It was number 1 Winnebago.
The following is a live presentation of News Channel Nebraska Sports.
It's time for the 2017 NCN Sports Now State Basketball Show, brought to you by Midwest Bank.
And welcome back to Pinnacle Bank Arena NCN Sports Now State Basketball Show. We have returned. We were here for the girls' state. We are back for the boys. This brought to you by Midwest Bank. Brandon Axmit and Eric McKay with you. And man, no surprise, but we saw some great basketball. We have a lot of teams to cover. 18 games in total that had NCN area teams. We have a lot to talk about.
We do. You said we're back. You left. I've been sitting here the whole week. I've been wondering where you guys went. No, an unbelievable amount of basketball. We saw buzzer beaters. We saw Cinderella stories. The more I talk, the less good stuff we have. So, Brandon, let's go to the good stuff.
We're jumping in with Class C1. It was a very good contest to start in the early game. Winnebago, the top seed and one of the favorites coming into this tournament, taking on 8-seeded Kearney Catholic. But the Stars, they weren't going down without a fight. Let's check in with Jay Hanna.
It was number 1 Winnebago taking on number 8 Kearney Catholic in the first round of the C1 tournament. The Indians would see a bit of a scare from the Stars. David Winchett, senior sensation, knocks down the fadeaway three-pointer in the first half. Kearney Catholic would cut it to 7 at the halftime break thanks to this three from Brady Holtmeyer. He had a big day. And then later in the second half, the Stars would get the lead all the way down to 2 with under 2 minutes left thanks to some hot shooting in the second half.
Our kids came out ready to play. They executed the game plan. We just needed to hit a couple more shots. We knew they were going to pressure us and get up and down, and we like to play at the same pace. And our quick start showed from practice. We said we wanted to attack their pressure, and we did a good job.
A couple free throws from David Winchett would seal the deal. 67-63, though Winnebago comes out on top.
That's why first thing I teach them is we got to play through everything, and we can't give up on nothing. And they fought today, and it was a good battle, and it was a good win for us. We needed that to start off the turning run, so I'm very impressed with my boys.
Winchett led the Indians with 24 points in the game.
I don't think anybody worked harder for it.
Reporting in Lincoln, I'm Jay Hanna, NCN Sports Now.
So the Indians survive, and man, that would have been a storyline had Winnebago gotten knocked off in the opening round. Credit to Kearney Catholic, though, both these teams coming into this one on an 11-game winning streak. But I'll be honest, I wasn't expecting it to be as close as it was the way Winnebago played and the way they took care of SCOTUS not too long ago.
Well, and when you consider that Winnebago, you talk about being battle-tested, they played 10 games against teams that made it to state this year and were 9-1 in those games. Their only loss was to a Ponca team that they played 3 times. So, yeah, Winnebago battle-tested. Kearney Catholic could not miss. That's about the only way you're going to beat Winnebago is if you're hitting your outside shots, and even today, that wasn't enough for the Stars.
So the Indians survive, and they make it to the semifinals. They will be playing the winner of Bishop Neumann and O'Neill, 2 powerhouses. O'Neill, of course, with all the athletes getting the state championship in football, and Bishop Neumann, when you talk state basketball, they are always down in Lincoln. Let's check in with Max Baker for more.
The Bishop Neumann Cavaliers started the game on an 11-1 run and never looked back as they took care of the O'Neill Eagles in the opening round of the C1 Boys Basketball State Tournament. Cavaliers' 1-3-1 defense proved problematic in the early going for O'Neill. Couldn't consistently find a rhythm on offense until they already trailed by double digits. O'Neill would put together a bit of a run at the end of the second quarter to cut it to 9, but a late three-pointer from Neumann gave the Cavaliers a 36-24 lead at halftime.
Yeah, they never quit. They're winners, and I know it didn't show on the scoreboard, but they worked their tails off and they put in a ton of effort, and they didn't want to go down without a fight. So
it was more of the same in the second half for the Cavaliers as they used a relentless offensive attack to sink the Eagles. The defending state champions will be again in action tomorrow as they take on the winner of the SCOTUS Boys Town game at Pinnacle Bank Arena at 10:45 a.m. Reporting from Lincoln here at the state tournament, I'm Max Baker, News Channel Nebraska.
So Bishop Neumann with the victory. They advance to the semifinals, and on their side of the bracket, it was Scotus and Boys Town clashing for the winner, getting to take on Bishop Neumann. And everybody knows Scotus some serious aspirations of going to state, but Boys Town, they have some pretty good talent on their side of the ball as well.
They do. I had a chance to see Boys Town play Wayne earlier this year. In that game, Teddy Allen, their star center, had a quadruple double, at least 10 points in points, rebounds, assists, and steals. It was one of the greatest individual performances I've ever seen. Boys Town beat Wayne by 41. When Teddy Allen is on, the Cowboys are no joke.
And Scotus was hoping that would not be the case. Let's check in with Max Baker as the Shamrocks battled Boys Town.
The Class C1 quarterfinals, and man, was it a good one. The number 3 Scotus Shamrocks taking on the 6th Boys Town Cowboys. The first half was a back-and-forth affair, and the game went into halftime the same way it started, tied, though this time at 20 apiece. The Cowboys came out on fire to start the third quarter, outscoring Scotus 21-9 to take a 12-point lead into the fourth. Teddy Allen had 14 of his game-high 31 points in the third quarter, and it seemed like Boys Town was destined to pull off the upset. Trailing by double digits in the fourth, the Shamrocks turned to their defense to get him back into the game as they applied pressure that Boys Town couldn't shake.
At one point there, I looked at my assistants and I said, they've only scored 2 points the last 6.5 minutes, and that's the reason we won the game. We held them to 2 points for most of the quarter. They had some baskets there at the end, but once we got going, I think our kids were just playing with the crowd, through the crowd, got the adrenaline pumping, and nothing was going to stop us at that point.
Scotus outscored Boys Town 30-8 in the final quarter to snatch victory from the jaws of defeat. They set up a semifinal matchup with the defending state champions from Bishop Neumann Cavaliers. That game is set for 10:45 a.m. Friday morning at Pinnacle Bank Arena. Reporting from Lincoln here for the state tournament, I'm Max Baker, News Channel Nebraska.
So the Shamrocks with the 10-point victory. They are 2-0 against Boys Town as the season ends. And you saw head coach Tyler Swanson there in his first state game as a head coach, and that's not a bad result to grab.
Not at all, and now they get the rubber match with Bishop Neumann. Those teams have split this year. Those teams play in probably the toughest conference in the state of Nebraska, non-metro division. That is an absolute battle to win that conference. Those teams saw each other there. Very familiar with one another, a bit of a rivalry there between the two schools you'll see in the semis tomorrow.
And I'm lucky enough to be the person that will be getting those highlights. Cannot wait enough to see that contest. Let's just take a look at the bracket for Class C1 to tell you exactly what happened in the tournament. Winnebago survives against Kearney Catholic, so they get Wahoo in the early game in Class C1 at Pinnacle Bank Arena. But you talked about it, Eric. Bishop Neumann and Scotus. These two teams are used to playing each other not only in the regular season, not only in the Centennial Conference tournament, but in the state tournament as well. This group of players has quite the history with one another. Now, they didn't play each other last year, but 2014, Bishop Neumann took care of Scotus in the semifinals. Just a 2-point win, 67-65. But the Shamrocks got revenge the following year in 2015. Knocked out the Cavaliers 51-42 in the semis. So head coach Jeff Anuka, who has since taken the presidential role at the Scotus Shamrocks, said, this has really morphed into a rivalry, and they see each other pretty much more times than not in the postseason. Like you said, they're seeing each other 2, sometimes 3 times during the regular season, and this should be a very good contest between the Cavaliers and Shamrocks.
And some of these players, Dalton Taylor, Noah Vedral, it seems like they've been playing for about 8 years now at this point, as long as they've been playing. I don't want to glance too far over a game that we didn't have the highlights of, though. Look at what Wahoo did to Gothenburg earlier today. 84-47. There was running clock in that game. That's an unbelievably dominant performance against a Gothenburg team that was running every team they faced out of the gym out west earlier this year. Wahoo's going to give Winnebago everything they can handle. They run a very, very tight 1-3-1 zone that is designed to stop high-powered offenses like Winnebago's. These two games in C1, almost regardless of class, could be the main events tomorrow when they happen in the morning.
To say we need to take over-under on the point total for Winnebago Wahoo because those offenses, they are high octane.
They are, but I have a feeling if Wahoo's going to win this game, they're going to want to keep it under 60 each. I think if this game gets up into the 60s, 70s, that means Winnebago's winning. So I think if Wahoo's going to win, they want that over-under somewhere below 120 points tomorrow.
And, of course, everybody knows David Wingett. I think he cracked third place, Jay Hanna told me, in the all-time scoring in Nebraska history. So if you're going to stop Winnebago, it starts with Wingett, and it'll be interesting to see just what he can do throughout the rest of this state tournament.
Yeah, an unbelievable career, nowhere near done. David Wingett, a difference maker, a guy we're all going to remember and be telling our grandkids about someday. So,
well, that's Class C1. That's a great bracket to start things out on here on our NCN Sports Now show. Shall we move on to the next class?
Let's do that. Class D1, a very busy bracket as well. The defending champs, Lord Central Catholic, finally broke through, won a state championship last year. Looked very good in starting their championship reign off this year. Let's take a look at their quarterfinal matchup. The defending champs in Class D1, Lord Central Catholic, opening their defense against Burwell in the quarterfinals and starting off pretty well. Really established their will early on, an opening 10-0 run here. The putback by Brock Hoagland, 2 of his 10 points, also had 8 rebounds. Here, run the floor fast, forget the slow-mo. Quentin Vossau with the finish. Lord Central Catholic up early. More from the Knights. The cross-court pass leaves the wide-open 3, and Thomas Ragland knows what to do from there. Hits the triple as LCC continues to roll. Pretty pull-up jumper there on the baseline as Hayden Miller gets in on the act. LCC's fans cheering them on. Burwell trying to get it going. This is Chase Hofschneider with 2 of his 11 points, but too much from LCC. How about defensively? No, thank you. And LCC gets the big win, 64-37.
I mean, there's really no special thing to it. I mean, we just have guys that have been here before that have made plays, and granted, if you look at my gray hairs, I have sometimes where we take some little quick early shots, which it kind of drives us nuts, but it's just who they are.
And next up in the semifinals will be Lutheran High Northeast.
The Gerhardt kid's really tough, and so it'll be another big challenge for us. A little bit different, as far as, he kind of mixes it up a little bit inside, outside as far as a big guy goes, and then, they got really good athletes around him, so it'll be another good challenge for us.
At Lincoln East High School for NCN Sports, I'm Eric McKay. So LCC gets it going from the outside. Hayden Miller's 21 points led the way, hit 4 triples on the night, and LCC starts their title defense in a big way. Brandon, that's an impressive way to start a year. You're familiar with these Burwell athletes. Certainly a 27-point victory over a very strong Burwell Longhorn team.
Yeah, the Longhorns are by no means an easy out. Coming into this on an 8-game win streak, and you have a guy that played his last game, Chase Hofschneider. When you're averaging 20 and a 10, you're doing something right. So Lord Central Catholic did a great job of neutralizing him, and that's going to be a big hole to fill for the Longhorns. But first time back to state since 2013, nothing to feel bad about if you're the Longhorns, and very good to see them here in Lincoln. They had a very good season.
Yeah, holding him to 11 points, a big reason Burwell not able to get things going today. And I mentioned during that package, Lord Central Catholic will be taking on Lutheran High Northeast. They snuck in by the skin of their teeth with the wild card. Didn't know they'd be getting in until about 10:30 on the night of the district championships, but they're in. They're the 3 seed, and they played like it today, defeating Heartland 52-30. Had a chance to catch up with head coach Darren Suxdorf afterward.
We kind of game planned for this. We thought we could get off to a good start. I think we could play our type of basketball. So we had 4 sets. Thought our guys did a good job trying to get some easy looks, and I think a few of them worked. But I was really proud of how we played defense. We had the Hubert kid, number 3, is a real good ball player. I'm averaging 20-some points a game. So we had to kind of know where he was on the court, and I thought our guys did a good job of knowing where he was. And probably the biggest stat when I see is number 12 usually hits about 4 threes a game. We did a good job keeping him off the line. And more importantly, we got some rebounds, held him to one shot a lot. So I think defense is probably the biggest key to getting off to a great start.
So there you go. This is like a dream matchup. This was, as this season rolled along, Brandon, a game that I think a lot of folks thought would be your 1-2 seed. It was shaping up that way in power points a lot of the season. Then Lutheran High falls to Randolph in the sub-districts. Things kind of go haywire, and now you've got Eagles versus Knights in a semifinal matchup that is the winner of this game. A lot of folks are going to have them penciled in as the favorites in Class D1.
And it'll be interesting to see. Lutheran High Northeast also has been a few years, obviously, since they've been to state. LCC, on the other hand, they're defending champs, so they have a lot of players that know what it's like, know what the pressure is in terms of getting to the championship, and that's obviously going to be one of the key factors to keep our eyes on in this matchup.
Very similar teams as well. Both can go inside with Quentin Vossoff for Lawrence Central Catholic, Caleb Gebhardt for Lutheran High Northeast. Both of those big men can go outside, though. Both teams have very good shooting guards, almost mirror images of one another. Should be a very good game tomorrow.
And, of course, Heartland, an NCN 30 area team, third time making it to state and program history, so a great time for them. Austin Stewart, their one senior that's a pretty big player that they're going to miss. But, again, kind of like Burwell, besides that one key cog, they have guys coming back, and they're looking to continue building this Husky program. So congratulations to Heartland on a great year.
And in the bottom half of that Class D1 bracket, last week Guardian Angel Central Catholic won Class D1 in girls basketball. They did so by beating Dundee County Stratton in the championship game. This week, Dundee County Stratton, the 1 seed in boys basketball. Guardian Angel Central Catholic snuck in as the 8 seed after getting hot late in the season. So Dundee County Stratton, a chance for revenge. Will they get it? Let's check it out.
Number 8 seed, Guardian Angel Central Catholic, taking on Dundee County Stratton, the 1 seed. Now, these two teams played last week in the girls state basketball final. That one went in the double overtime. Dundee County trying to get revenge this time. Cody Slaughter gets on the board early for GACC, 17 points for him. And then we're going to see Dundee County Stratton do some work down low with Tyler Davis using the backboard to grab a bucket. Close one early as we see Phelan Sanford get in the action. He was awesome in this game, leading scorer for Dundee County. And then we're going to see him knock down a three-pointer, but then the Blue Jays waste no time on the other end. In comes Landon Staup, do a little dirty work down low, beats his man, and GACC has an early 3-point lead after 1 quarter. Then we're going to see more Sanford. He wanted to dunk that one, still made a nice play. Got fouled, made the free throw as well. And we see Nathan Offadat on for Dundee County. So it's just a 1-point game at halftime. These two teams very, very even after the first 2 quarters. Then Cole Kreckmeyer got on the board for GACC, knocks down a 3. And then Mitchell Haas puts one through, as well as the Blue Jays go on a 3rd quarter run, up as much as 8. After 3 quarters, GACC was up 45-42. So this one's still tight heading in the 4th quarter for Phelan Sanford. What a tough play there, able to put one through. And then we see him grab a steal here and really propelled the Tigers to keep this one close. Sanford had 24 points, but Blue Jays were able to make 15 4th quarter free throws. They win this one 65-55. Now, the Blue Jays played many Class C schools in the regular season. Head coach Brad Slaughter said that paid off on Thursday.
We knew they were a quality team, and they are. They got some very fine athletes. And they got a nice player, number 12. But we knew with our competition and our schedule that we've probably seen a lot of things similar to what they're going to throw at us.
Reporting in Lincoln for NCN Sports Now, I'm John Kipper.
Well, apparently it's not going to be a state tournament unless a 1 seed falls on Thursday. Guardian Angels sweeps Dundee County Stratton this year. But what you heard there, Brandon, I think Coach Slaughter mentioned the schedule. Guardian Angel Central Catholic was 13-13 this year. But I would defy a lot of Class D1 teams to play the schedule they did and find 13 wins. 8 games against teams that are down here in Lincoln. They play in the Mid-State Conference. They're the only sub-C team in that conference. A bunch of C1, C2 teams. O'Neill is in that conference. Pierce, Boone Central, Newman Grove, Hardington Cedar Catholic. That is a murderer's row of a conference slate every single year. And when you get down to state, it's the kind of schedule that can pay off for you.
Well, I was going to say, I mean, that's the definition of battle-tested, and you said it right there. You see the dividends. You're playing the teams that are going to be really hard coming down to Lincoln. You get to see what that is like, and it pays off. You get into those games, and it just sort of becomes natural when your team is in a situation like that, and they know what to do. And just like you said, just strengthening your point, Eric, they had the pressure, they had the good team, and they took care of business. The 8 seed taking down the 1. It's always fun to see that. We saw it in the girls, and we have another 8 seed to follow now here in the boys.
Absolutely. And now, as far as who they would play, you've got the 4-5 matchup, and you've got a team in the Randolph Cardinals aren't even supposed to be here. They're like Dante and Clerks, but they beat Lutheran High Northeast in the sub-district, won their district final against a very good Boyd County team, and they're starting to build a little momentum. Let's check out their quarterfinal matchup with BDS.
D1 4-5 matchup. It's Bruning Davenport Shickley taking on Randolph. Winner will take on GACC. on Friday. And early strong defense from the Cardinals, as we're going to see Andrew Schnorr put one through to give Randolph an early lead, but BDS actually responds right back and takes the lead. But they would not hold a lead very long in the first quarter, as Randolph then would go on a roll as the bank was open for Judson Hickson as he knocks one through. And then one heck of a pass from Mason Stubbs over to Mason Nordhus as Randolph offense really gets going in the first and second quarters. And look at that shot from Mason Stubbs. He does a point after as well, thinking for the pass. BDS no answer for Randolph in the first, down 27-16 at the half. Now we're going to see Randolph's Merrick's Dean knock down a three, so the offense continues for the Cardinals. Anthony Beavers for BDS, though, tries to keep him in it, uses his height to put one through, as BDS fans trying to get their team to propel a comeback. As we see Cole Kleinschmidt, he was one heck of a quarterback. He's able to knock that down for the Eagles. He had 7 points in this game. Just so many answers on this Randolph team. Schnorr, yet again, he had 7 points. Now BDS trying to get a little bit closer. Several opportunities offensively. They get blocked. Randolph wins this one 50-40. They will take on Guardian Angels Central Catholic on Friday.
Frankly, we just never stuck to the game plan all day. You know, we had stuff that we wanted to try and get done, and most of it was inside. And boy, we just didn't get it done.
Randolph head coach Mark Anderson says his team played good defense, but really played well inside offense.
That's what you need to do, penetrate and dish some of the time. And we made a few shots, not a lot of them today from the perimeter, but you know, we did a good job, I thought, inside.
Reporting in Lincoln, for NCN Sports Now, I'm John Kipper.
So Randolph moves on to the semifinals. Don't look now, but they and Lutheran High are on opposite sides of the bracket. They just saw each other in the sub-district. But Randolph, they were the winners in Class D1 3 years ago. And a guy who was a freshman and a difference maker for them came off the bench in their championship game against Overton with 11 points. Logan Nordhus, he's all grown up now. 17 points a game, played like a difference maker today. This Randolph team, while their win-loss record maybe not as sterling as the other teams in the bracket, they're about as deep as they come in Class D1.
And, you know, you always have to pay attention to the mascots. Lutheran High Northeast, the Eagles, Randolph, the Cardinals.
Right.
Could be the battle of the birds in that championship game.
Is it all birds? Oh, we've got the Knights, but Guardian Angels is the Blue Jays.
There we go, 3 out of 4.
Lots of avian representation in Class D1. Let's take a look at the brackets in Class D1. These brought to you by Faith Regional Physical Therapy. And there you see Lutheran High Northeast, Lord Central Catholic. That is how you do breakfast at the Bob. That'll be the first game of the Devaney tomorrow. Then Randolph, Guardian Angels, Central Catholic. 2 Northeast Nebraska teams that actually did not play in the regular season. That's going to be a very interesting matchup tomorrow. This is wide open in D1 all of a sudden. Any one of those teams, I believe, could be hoisting the trophy on Saturday. So Class D1 still wide open and a lot to be determined. 2 very good games on the docket tomorrow.
And that's the way you want it if you're paying attention to the state tournament. When it's 4 teams left and anybody's ball game, it makes it that much more exciting. And that's why we're here. We're here to watch the games. We're here to break them down and tell you about them and show you highlights. So looking forward to like C1, Class D1 as well. Both these brackets shaping up to be very, very exciting.
And they're the ones that get to kick it off tomorrow. So there will be no drowsiness tomorrow. A lot of energy at 9 o'clock tomorrow morning, both buildings.
Well, do not go anywhere. We got 2 classes down and 4 to go. We're going to have Class A coming up when we return here on the NCN Sports Now State Basketball Show.
At Midwest Bank, our business service is more than just a place for deposits and loan payments. We are here to help your business run more efficiently and be more successful. You deserve products that will make daily operations smoother and a banker who is working to build a stronger financial relationship with you. Visit your local Midwest Bank branch in Creighton, Norfolk, Pierce, Plainview, and Wisner. Member FDIC.
If you need therapy to recover from a surgery or a sports-related injury, Faith Regional Physical Therapy has a specialist for you.
Not all physical therapy is the same. Choose a team that delivers the best results.
Results come from having an advanced trained therapist working exclusively with you the entire session.
So no matter what type of therapy you need, we have the right specialist for you at Faith Regional Physical Therapy.
I understand that you work hard away from home, and when you get home, it should be comfortable. Hi, I'm Jay from Noakes. Noakes has been keeping people comfortable in southeast Nebraska and northern Kansas since 1961. And our highly trained technicians are available to handle all of your service issues, no matter what brand it is. So call the friendly folks at Noakes today and let us keep you comfortable all year long.
At Midwest Bank, service is more than our interaction with our customers. It is understanding the change in the banking process and how we can better serve our clients. Midwest Bank is changing the way that you can bank with the Midwest mobile app. This app allows you to transfer funds between accounts, make loan payments, and deposits. Anytime, anywhere. You can even pay your bills from the palm of your hand. Find out more at your local Midwest Bank branch in Creighton, Norfolk, Pierce, Plainview, and Wisner. Member FDIC, an equal housing lender.
Guarantee Roofing and Sheet Metal of Nebraska has been providing long-term, high-performance roof assemblies for over 35 years. Guarantee works through all of Northeast and North Central Nebraska with solutions to your roofing and sheet metal needs. They offer a complete line of options for Main Street businesses, commercial facilities, and industrial plants. Rest assured that all work is done by Guarantee employees, never subcontracted. That's Guarantee Roofing and Sheet Metal in Norfolk.
And welcome back to Pinnacle Bank Arena, live here on the NCN Sports Now State Basketball Show, brought to you by Midwest Bank. Brandon Axman, Eric McKay with you as we have 4 more classes to discuss. But before we do, very important, our social media game is strong, at least we like to think so, Eric. We have a Twitter handle, we have a Facebook page. What we would like you to do, tweet us at NCN Sports. Let us know where you're watching from, who you're cheering for at the state tournament. And even give us a little shout out, we'll give you one back. Anything really you could tweet. You know, we've been working on our gifts, we've been working on our puns, and of course our scores. So contact us on Twitter and we'll see what we can talk about.
If Jay Hanna is at a game, our Twitter page is going to have gifts and puns aplenty. No question. But yeah, great to interact with the fans. The Panther Posse was strong earlier today in Class A, and we look forward to hearing from you guys there online.
And fun fact, we're at about 1,900. Let's get to 2,000. Maybe not by the end of the night, maybe by tomorrow. But I think that's a fair goal for everybody at home. So at NCN Sports, we're getting back to highlights though right now, and we're starting off with Class A. Now, Eric, good basketball, but the seeds not all did hold. There was an upset in terms of which team beat the other, lower over higher, but we're not going to tell you who just yet.
Exactly, and when the seeds came out, I mean, this was Class A this year was a situation where you could have pulled 8 teams out of a hat, randomly seeded them, and it would have seemed right. These teams have been beating up on each other all year long, and today's 4-5 matchup was indicative of that. The matchup of Kearney and Omaha Central, 2 teams that have seen the highest of highs and lowest of lows this year. For Kearney, it's been a lot of highs lately, 18 straight coming into the state tournament. Omaha Central, though, seemed to be peaking at the right time. A big win late in the year against Norfolk late in the regular season. Who would be better today? Jay Hanna has the answer.
It was number 4 Kearney taking on number 5 Omaha Central in the Class A quarterfinals. The Bearcats got a huge performance out of Cannon Coster. We'll touch on that in a bit. Right here, Shiloh Robinson with a nice drive and finish. They jumped out to a 21-8 lead after the first quarter, but here comes Omaha Central. Keandre Spivey with the drive and the and-one finish, but Coster would not let Kearney lose. 13 straight points to end the third quarter. He scored 13 out of the team's 15 points in the quarter, and he finished the day with 38 points, which is a career high. Previously was 37. Kearney moving on to the semifinals with a 61-50 victory over Omaha Central.
Yeah, I think pretty good is an understatement. He's probably one of the better players in the state of Nebraska, and he just needed a stage like this to really showcase his talents. And just super proud of him. And the best part is he's a great kid. He scored 38 tonight. He might score 5 tomorrow, and you wouldn't know any different.
Kearney will play number 1 Papillion La Vista with a chance to make it to their second state final ever.
Oh yeah, especially just being from outside the metro and not really getting the same respect as we do as other teams do. That's kind of our motivation, and just our teamwork was believed this year. And that's what we're doing, and we're really, that's what we're thinking about at all times.
Reporting in Lincoln, I'm Jay Hanna, NCN Sports Now.
Make it 19 in a row for the Kearney Bearcats. They'll look for 20 tomorrow in the semis. Cannon Coster, I was told personally by Norfolk head coach Tony Siskey earlier this year that he was the player to watch in Class A this year. This was back during the GNAC tournament in December. He was right. But, and the 38 points today, brilliant performance. What has made Kearney so good over this stretch run, though, Brandon, has been the emergence of Shiloh Robinson down low. He's been averaging a double-double since the GNAC tournament ended. He was well below that prior to that. His emergence down low has made teams play off Coster a little bit. That's why he's able to go off for 38 like he did tonight.
Of course, when you have a weapon inside, they have to have the other teams account for that, and Coster got freed up. But you heard Coster also say, too, these Bearcats, they're playing with a chip on their shoulder. They're considered out west. They have Omaha Central, a team that has had so much success in state and a pedigree that the Eagles have. And a lot of people, I think, wrote off Kearney because of that. And you look at it, the Bearcats haven't been to state since 2008, but they come here in 2017, and they make a statement in the quarterfinals.
And good for young coach Drake Baronic. Of course, he's got coaching blood. The Baronic name runs very long in terms of success down here in Lincoln. And shout out to the Kearney fans. Their home court advantage, the Palace of Kearney Hills, they call it, is one of the best home court advantages in the state of Nebraska. They brought that here to Lincoln. It was almost 2-1, it felt at times, in terms of fan participation. Kearney versus Omaha Central felt like a home game for the Bearcats tonight.
Well, we'll be sure to be watching Kearney as they continue their journey. And another Class A game that was the game that did not have the seeds hold. Eric, want to talk more about that one?
Yeah, speaking of fan bases that travel well, it was a sea of maroon for the quarterfinal matchup as Norfolk took on Creighton Prep. This was perhaps the most looked forward to game in the Class A bracket when the brackets came out. The 3-6 matchup, and this one needed extra time to find a winner. Jay Hanna has the highlights.
It was a great basketball game on Thursday night at Pinnacle Bank Arena. Number 6 Norfolk taking on number 3 Creighton Prep. You're going to add this one to your highlight reel. A rope tip dunk. Creighton Prep rolling early. But here comes Norfolk. Lane McCallum thinks about it, knocks down the 3. Then Creighton Prep would come back and respond. A three-pointer of their own. Knocking that down is Matthew Wellendorf. Let's fast forward to the end of the ball game. Last chance for Creighton Prep. Banks it in at the buzzer. We're going into overtime. In overtime, Norfolk again thinking about it and knocking it down. Christian Eisenhower for 3. Later on in the overtime, pass tipped away and stolen by Travis Larson. He would be fouled, knocked down both free throws. Then next possession gets another steal, throws it down for Norfolk. And then sealing the deal to put him up by 4, knocking down the free throw. The Panthers win this one 63-59 in overtime and are heading to the semifinals.
I'm very proud of them. Anytime you win this time of year at this tournament, you're doing something right. It's not easy to come down here at the state tournament and get wins because every team down here is a quality team. So I'm proud of them, but like I told them, we got 10 minutes to enjoy it, and then we've got to focus on tomorrow's game.
Reporting in Lincoln, I'm Jay Hanna, NCN Sports Now.
That was a crying Jordan there in the Panther student section. So the overtime win, that huge bank shot that Creighton Prep hits to force the overtime. Norfolk not deflated, able to get the win. There's so many storylines. The one that really gets lost, this is Tony Siskey's first year here. His old team, Scotts Bluff, in Class B. We'll see highlights from them later on as well. But his new team, Norfolk, playing pretty well back in the semifinals for the first time in 3 years.
You have to talk about just how important this is for the Norfolk community. You said it, the first time in a few years. The past 2 years, they've been bounced out in the first round, and I think you'd say that was disappointing. The Norfolk Panthers had aspirations of getting further in the state tournament the past 2 years, and they have since maybe gotten over that hump. They're now in the semifinals, and it's a big play for the Norfolk Panther basketball program.
The theme for them this year has been now or never. They have a group of 7 seniors on this team that have played together since they were little tiny basketball players. They were winning tournaments when they were 8 years old. They have yet to win the tournament in high school, and for them, the theme all year long has been now or never. They're 2 games away from cutting down the nets. By the way, and there are some Norfolk fans think there's some magic at work here. Norfolk has 1 state championship ever. That was in 1987, 30 years ago. The man that hit the game-winning shot, his son is one of the 7 seniors for the Norfolk Panthers. So the fans believe that there is some magic in play. we'll see if that continues. Let's take a look at the Class A brackets, see how we're looking. A couple of other games, one that just went final. Omaha South beats Lincoln Pius X. There's another upset. It'll be 6 versus 7 tomorrow. Packers get the 67-54 win, so use the dust on your TV and your finger to write that in on the bracket at the bottom of the screen there. Papillion La Vista, very impressive in their win over Millard South early on. Two very intriguing matchups tomorrow in Class A. Papio and Kearney, two teams that did not see each other in the regular season. Norfolk getting a chance to avenge one of their losses earlier this year against Omaha South and Brandon. I did that game. It's one of the few times this year that Norfolk looked outmatched from pillar to post. That was a team that Norfolk wanted another crack at, and they'll get it tomorrow against the Packers.
Well, and Omaha South is the only team that beat Aurora as well. The only loss for the Class B team that has some very serious aspirations. So, I mean, it's no secret. People know this Packers team has talent, and I think the Panthers are pretty happy that they do have a chance to avenge that loss and make a big-time statement and a chance to go to the state tournament final.
Not a bad nightcap here at the PBA tomorrow with those two games on the slate. Now we go from the big guys to the little guys. Class D2, Brandon, you had a chance to check out some of these games.
That I certainly did. I had the 10:45 game, but somebody who had the game before me was Max Baker. Riverside was in action. The Chargers getting third place the past 2 years, and this is their third consecutive trip. And they're the top seed. They have a pair of two very good players, and they don't want to get third anymore, Eric. They want to get first, and they had a very good start.
The Riverside Chargers show why they are the #1 seed in the Class D2 bracket with a dominant first half on Thursday morning. The Chargers used a prolific attack from behind the three-point line to grab an early lead over the Garden County Eagles and never looked back as they cruised to a 40-14 halftime lead thanks to a litany of three-pointers. Riverside was led offensively by Noah Velasek and Traden Prosaski, who both came out of the gates red hot in the state quarterfinals.
Focus got to change, right? We came out, we did what we needed to do the first round. Now it's time to set our sights on whoever wins the next game, I guess. Watch some film, get some stuff in, get a game plan like he said, let him go to work a little bit, and then tell us what we need to do to accomplish our goal, which is to win tomorrow.
For Garden County, they were led by Mason Zorn, who had 8 points, and Dominic Kopman, who finished with 6 for the Eagles. It wasn't enough for the Eagles as they lost by a final score of 70-27.
I thought we missed quite a few easy buckets. That's something we're going to have to make tomorrow if we're going to have a shot to win.
Riverside will take on the winner of the Humphrey St. Francis Mullen game at 7 p.m. on Friday night at the Bob Devaney Sports Center. Reporting from Lincoln here in the state tournament, I'm Max Baker, News Channel, Nebraska.
And 70-23, Eric, that is the definition of a boat race. And no disrespect to Garden County, but you're Riverside, and you're a Class D2 team that has two players, a senior in Noah Velasek and Traden Prosaski, a freshman, who are both averaging 20 points a contest. You're going to be putting up big numbers like you saw there.
Yeah, Velasek, one of those guys who seems like he's been playing for about 10 years as well. How about head coach Joe Imus afterward? We missed some open shots there. You won by 43, so I think you did all right, end of the day.
You know, and then another one, though, Class D2 as Riverside and Coach Joe Imus, they are very well on their way to the semifinals. We had a much closer game in the other side of the bracket. Humphrey St. Francis, the defending D2 champs, with a little bit of turnover. They had a tough one against Mullen, a team from out west. Class D2 final at Lincoln Southeast. It's 4 versus 5 on Thursday as Mullen takes on Humphrey St. Francis. Starting things off in the first quarter, Lance Moore with the triple at the top of the key. And let's give you a little bit more of Lance Moore. Again, different play, same player. He knocks down his second triple of the quarter. Moore had 7 as Mullen is up 13-8 after the first quarter of play. But head coach Eric Kessler rallies the troops, and the Flyers would answer in the second. Do not leave Colton Engel open. He'll bury it every time. He hits the 3 there. And next time down the court, Cole Wemhoff battled inside all afternoon. There's 2 of his 14 as he led the Flyers. And the other big player, Riley Jarris, helping his friends out, getting the board and putting up the basket. He had 13 as the Flyers exploded for 18 points in the second quarter. And here is Carson Widener hitting Quinn Ulmer for the triple. St. Francis would trail just 26-24 at the halftime break. Now coming back out in the third quarter, the Flyers would continue to chip away, and look at that athleticism by Riley Jarris. He somehow gets the shot to fall, and he would knock down the free throw. But answering right back down the court, Brody McIntosh. He led all scorers with 17. He was getting to the rack all day for the Broncos. Now heading into the fourth, it is do or die. You see the great block by Trevor Pfeiffer, and then he comes back down and knocks a triple for the Flyers. It cuts it to just 2 points. St. Francis trailing with just 90 seconds to play. And with 6.6 seconds to go, Mullen misses a pair of free throws leading by 1, so the Flyers have one last chance to get the victory. Shot goes up, and unfortunately for St. Francis, it goes off the back of the iron, and the Broncos hold on for the 45-44 win.
We were kind of behind the 8 ball just from the start of the game. Just couldn't get over the hump and had some opportunities and made some mistakes. And just were kind of out of sync all day for whatever reason, and I think it's a credit to them how well they played and competed. State tournament, you kind of, you play good teams. If you don't play your best, you get to go home.
Coach Eric Kessler was proud of what this senior group has done throughout its career at St. Francis.
Doesn't feel successful now because we had higher aspirations, but when we look back at it, we're proud of what we did, and the senior class has had a lot of success. I mean, we were champs last year, runner-up the year before. They've been in the state tournament 3 straight years.
So the Flyers season ends at 21-6. Mullen advances to the semifinals and will face Riverside on Friday at 7 p.m. at the Bob Devaney Sports Center. I'm Brandon Axmith in Lincoln reporting NCN Sports Now. Now, admittedly, it's not the same St. Francis team that won state last year, but it also just wasn't the Flyers' day. You heard it from head coach Eric Kessler. They got in a hole early, and a lot of shots weren't falling, but credit to them. They trailed 2 at halftime, and a head coach Eric Kessler team, they're not going to go down without a fight. It stayed between 6 and 4 throughout the third and fourth quarter. The Flyers never had that lead, but they had the ball with a chance to win, just down 1 with 6.6 seconds to go. And, Eric, they got the shot they wanted, just this time the ball didn't bounce their way.
Yeah, and credit to Mullen. That's a big win for them. While they had some turnover from last year, they still had Carson Widener. They still had Cole Wemhoff, who was brilliant for them all year long. Those are a couple of key pieces the Flyers are going to have to try to replace next year. They have a star in the making in Taylor Pfeiffer, the freshman. He's going to be really good before his career at St. Francis is done. But it's Mullen instead that moves on to the semifinals.
We'll be keeping our eyes on that one like we are on all of the games down here, but we're going to take a look at the other side of the bracket. We had an upset here in this one as we take a look at some B-roll. Wynot and Parkview battling on the bottom side of the bracket. Number 7 seed versus number 2 seed, Eric.
Yeah, absolutely. And Parkview Christian, a team that many had penciled in perhaps as the favorites. A lot of very tough teams on their schedule. But this game, Parkview Christian, despite what you see here, they had trouble all day making shots. Wynot did not. They were hitting from outside all evening long. Coach Wiesler's squad, a very good team from outside. That's how they make it happen. Sorry, Coach Lee Hymas. But it was one of the Wieslers, Nathan Wiesler, who was hitting threes for them. And Wynot able to get the win over Parkview Christian. So the 7 beats the 2. And the team that for a lot of people was a favorite in Class D2 is done. They don't make it to the weekend, and why not? All they do is win. Their 8th appearance. They were here last year, won the title in 2013, runner-up in 2012. One of the smallest schools in the state, 34 kids on their NSAA enrollment, but they get it done. And Jalen Wiesler, like I mentioned, hitting outside shots. He hits seemingly everything, averages 16 a game. Why not? A huge win, a monstrous upset for the Blue Devils, and they move on. Continue to play with championship aspirations.
Well, why not? Why not? I wonder if that one's ever been said before.
Never. I'm going to start calling them Winot. That's all
there
they do.
We go.
They win.
But Northeast Nebraska taking care of that Lincoln foe, and they are on to the semifinals. Let's take a look at the bracket and see how this one shakes down in Class D2. You see Riverside, no problem with Garden County with the victory in the semifinals. They'll be facing off with the Mullen Broncos after they dispatch the defending champs, Humphrey St. Francis. Again, this bracket brought to you by Faith Regional Physical Therapy. And on the bottom side of the bracket, the Meade Raiders took care of Juanita Palisade 45-33. And filling in the bracket, like Eric McKay said, just take that dust off, use your finger. Why not? The number 7 seed taking care of number 2 Parkview Christian in the semifinal. Those two teams will be matching up on the 8:45 game tomorrow at the Devaney.
I'll be closing things down at the Bob, and that's an interesting matchup between Meade and Wynot. Wynot, again, relying on the outside shot. Not the biggest team out there. They've only got a couple of guys at 6 feet or taller in their starting lineup. Meade, they've been just nothing but great. About the last 5 years, they've been down here seemingly in the semifinals every year in Class D2. Another team that would like to break through and get a title, though. So a couple of very interesting matchups and some teams that folks weren't necessarily expecting in D2 tomorrow.
Well, we have 15 minutes, about 14 minutes, and 2 more classes to go. Should we go to break?
I think we can do it. I think we can make it.
Let's go to break. We're going to check our Twitter handles at the break, at NCN Sports. If you haven't tweeted us, do it, and we'll give you a shout-out on the way back. But don't go anywhere. The NCN Sports Now State Basketball Show wraps up when we return.
There's a difference between making a living and making a life. For your family, your children, for yourself. That's why we choose to run our bank the way we do. Because it's never just about banking. And we're not just another bank. Pinnacle Bank. The way banking should be.
Need a doctor? At Faith Regional Physician Services, you get not only a doctor, but an entire team behind your health.
Connecting the best talent, technology, and services with over 100 providers and over 20 specialties.
You get primary care doctors,
advanced care practitioners,
specialists,
and surgeons,
working together to provide high-quality, seamless care.
Faith Regional Physician Services.
One provider network, connected for your health.
Guarantee Roofing and Sheet Metal has been Northeast and Central Nebraska's only full-service commercial roofing and light-gauge metal fabricator for over 35 years. Guarantee provides all in-house journeyman fabricators to service business, industry, churches, and hospitals by doing fabrication and installation of light-gauge pre-painted steel, aluminum, and copper. Exterior wall panels, standing seam roofs, and ductwork are just some of the applications available from the sheet metal professionals at Guarantee Roofing and Sheet Metal.
Ken's U-Save Health Mart Pharmacy and Tammy's Hallmark Store in Crete provides the best personal service and products in southeast Nebraska. They will make sure that no question goes unanswered, and if you have a question, Ken or Carrie will personally sit down with you and discuss the issue. That's quality service you can count on. Also, while you're there, check out Tammy's Hallmark Store. It's full of gifts and cards for any occasion. So stop by Ken's U-Save Health Mart in Crete and see for yourself the best personal service and products in southeast Nebraska.
Welcome back to NCN Sports Now Live from the Boys State Tournament. Brandon Axum and Eric McKay with you. Ethan Selber with us as well on Twitter. Ethan actually asking if we were going to be covering games live, like doing play-by-play. We're not allowed to do that, and we don't need anything else to do down here. But no, thanks for the shout-out, Ethan. We won't be able to cover any games live. That's not permitted, but that's why we're doing what we do right here.
And Bobby Mills Jr. out of Grand Island, the GI Independent at 1,000-yard guy. He's always given NCN some love, and he thanks us for all the scores that we've been tweeting out throughout this day on Thursday, and we'll continue to do so. So thank you, Bobby Mills Jr., for that.
At 1,000-yard guy. All right, Class C2 has a definitive favorite, I think we can say, after today. The top seed played like it this morning.
Yes, and that top seed is Hastings St. Cecilia. Now, the storyline coming into this one for the Blue Hawks, won state the past 2 years, but that was with a group of juniors and then seniors. They lost 6 seniors, and this starting group is new. 4 out of the 5 players, actually, are new players. And so head coach Kevin Asher said, while we could have the three-peat, this is a first-time peat. The first-time championship for this group of guys, and he wanted to see how his boys would respond, and if there was any questions about how they would play their first game of state, they've been answered. Class C2 quarterfinals at Lincoln Southeast. Number 1 versus number 8 as Hastings St. Cecilia takes on Southwest in the opening round. And starting things off, the Blue Hawks wasted no time scoring. Look at the quick ball movement around the perimeter, and Jack Thompson buries it from the corner. And then coming right back down the court, Thompson can knock down the three. He can also play defense, gets the steal, gets the bucket and the foul. He also made the free throw. Hastings St. Cecilia cruising early on, and they just played great defense, and their transition game always tough to deal with. Grant Schmidt dishing off the pass, this time to Ashton Valentine. St. Cecilia up double digits early on, and then Blaine Boyd, he had a night, 20 points in the paint, 18 of them coming in the first half, and you see right there, if it's not broke, don't fix it. The Blue Hawks continuing to work it inside to the junior, and he was having a heyday early on. And head coach Kevin Asher pleased with his team's performance. It is 28-1 after the first quarter of play, and it continued in the second quarter. Austin Esch getting to the rack there with the layup, and this time passing it inside again to Boyd. But Southwest does get its first field goal 3 minutes into that second quarter. You see Alex May getting the basket, but you can't take a play off because the Blue Hawks come right back down the court, and Austin Esch gets the lay-in. Now Grant Schmidt, the senior, great defense, and he runs the length of the court, looks off the defender, and takes it all the way to the hoop. He had 7 points, as this one is a 48-9 game at halftime. The cheerleaders are loving it. The student section is loving it. And why wouldn't you? Same thing in the second half, working it inside to Schmidt. And Hastings St. Cecilia goes on for the 59-20 win.
We needed to get off to a good start. We thought there were some things we could take advantage of with our ball pressure and, making them speed up the game. That was our biggest goal from the start. And I thought once our kids got into a little bit of a rhythm, about the 6-minute mark in, we got the game sped up to a speed that we can play at, and obviously they couldn't. And, taking advantage of a few turnovers, but then we really went inside early to Blaine Boyd against the zone defense, and I thought that was the key.
With the victory, the Blue Hawks will get the winner of Amherst-Neely Oakdale in the semifinals. That contest will be played at 2 p.m. on Friday at the Bob Devaney Sports Center. I'm Brandon Axsmith in Lincoln reporting, NCN Sports Now. And you heard Coach Asher say his team needed to get out to a good start. I think 28-1 after the first quarter is a pretty good start. But the thing about St. Cecilia, their starters, all 5 of them, average between 8 and 13 points. Really, anybody can go off at any time. They're so balanced that it makes it very, very hard for opposition to pick on who to key on, because anybody can hurt you.
Absolutely, and maybe they don't consider it a three-peat. It's Pete or repeat, whatever it is, it's working for Hastings St. Cecilia. You saw it today, and it isn't just this. Their district final game was against the 4 seed in the C2 bracket, Amherst, and they won by 30. Blue Hawks are rolling right now. We saw it today. They are going to be a tough out in Class C2 this year.
They advanced to the semifinal. They had a chance to play either Amherst or Neely Oakdale. That was the game that followed at Lincoln Southeast. So let's check in with Grant Otten.
Neely Oakdale showed resiliency on Thursday, putting up a strong effort in the fourth quarter to help them come back to beat the Broncos and advance to the semifinals. Neely Oakdale was down 7-5 in the first quarter with a consistent effort in the second quarter, both teams scoring 9 to put them down by 2 at half. The trend was similar in the third quarter, with Amherst outscoring the Warriors by 2, putting them up 18 points, thanks in part to the 13 points from Holden Eckhout.
The Eckhout kids started to flex a little bit, and we didn't really throw another body there, but we're just shading there, and we knew that. We knew that coming in. It was going to be Adelung and Eckhout, and that's going to be the show.
The Warriors didn't roll over, though, charging back with a huge 21-point fourth quarter, led by Tyson Bailiff's 15 points in the final 8 minutes. Neely Oakdale's defense proved to be strong as well, holding the Broncos to only 12 points in the final quarter.
Well, I think we're all pretty confident in what everyone can do. I think it's just Grant had his opportunities, and Alex had his opportunities, and we just capitalized on whatever they give us.
Adelong knocked down a deep three-pointer with 44 seconds to play to bring the game within 2 points, but some late free throws would give Neely Oakdale the push they needed to win the game 51-46. Bailiffs and Eckhout each finished the game with 20 points as the Warriors advanced to the semifinals and improved to 25-3. The Broncos finished their season at 23-4. Warriors will take on Hastings at St. Cecilia at 2 p.m. in the Devaney Sports Center on Friday. For NCN Sports, I'm Grant Otten, News Channel Nebraska.
So it's Neely Oakdale with the fun task of getting to play Hastings St. Cecilia tomorrow. But Eric, this is a special trip to Lincoln, some history behind this team.
Absolutely. If you're 43 years old, until today, you didn't live in a world where Neely Oakdale had won at state. It's been 44 years since they won a game here in Lincoln. 26 years since they'd even been here. It's been since 1991. So this is a special group of players. You saw Bayless there. Grant White, an unbelievable, prolific scorer as well. Warriors have been close the last couple of years. Finally were able to break through. There was a team in Clearwater that had a guy by the name of Andy Kirkman playing up in Augustana that had a lot to do with Neely Oakdale not getting down here before. Now it's their time, and now they've got the opportunity to slay the Giant tomorrow.
It would take a special performance, but we aren't ruling anything out. That's why we play the game, as they say. So that's the semifinal matchup. Neely Oakdale and Hastings St. Cecilia on one side of the bracket. Now on the other side for Class C2, we had Elmwood Murdoch and Oakland Craig battling it out. Let's see how this one turned out. You see the quick ball movement here by Elmwood Murdoch. Don't want to give you a spoiler alert, but the Knights, the number 2 seed, they would go on for the victory against Oakland Craig. A close one, though, 44-38. This one at Lincoln Southeast at 7 o'clock. Elmwood Murdoch, the Knights, will be advancing due to that close game, but a great offensive performance proves to be just enough for the Elmwood Murdoch Knights.
Yeah, and Elmwood Murdoch, the runner-up a year ago to Hastings St. Cecilia. Remember, they toppled Winnebago last year in the semifinals, and a team that took a lot of folks by surprise. Not really taking anybody by surprise this year. Oakland Craig able to get in on the strength of a very difficult schedule. They actually played Winnebago pretty tough earlier this year, only lost by 9. They are graduating Carter Teal, the end of a great career for him, 19 points a game, a great senior for the Knights. His career ends today.
Unfortunately for him, and unfortunately for us, we only have 5 minutes to go, so we are going to go right now to the Ponca versus Centennial game as well. The last game in Class C2, it was a 50-37 score. Ponca coming out on top, the 3 seed taking down the 6 seed. We'll quickly take a look at the brackets in Class C2 before we go to Class B and wrap this one up. He's brought to you by Faith Regional Physical Therapy.
I would not put it past Ponca to make a run at anybody in this bracket, by the way. They beat Winnebago earlier this year. They're really good. They've got about 3 or 4 guys that can score and score in a big way. That Ponca-Elmwood Murdoch game is going to be really, really good tomorrow afternoon. And so in Class B, meanwhile, you had Scotts Bluff. They don't have Tony Siski anymore, but they do have another trip to state. They do still have Drew Cookshausen. He can score. Today they had Crete. Rose Valenzuela, how'd it go?
The Scotts Bluff Bearcats advanced to the semifinals after beating the Crete Cardinals on Thursday. Crete took the lead in the first quarter and was looking aggressive on its offense, outscoring the Bearcats by 3 points, leading 12-9 after 1 quarter of play. The Cardinals were able to dominate in the second quarter and were able to lead the way 20-18 going into the half. After halftime, the Bearcats came back and turned things around. Josiah DeOyles tied the game 28-28 with 3 minutes left in the third quarter. Then Gabriel Patton shot the 3 to give his team the lead. The Bearcats led 34-32 going into the final 8 minutes of play. Crete's offense was then outscored by 9 points in the last quarter, allowing the Bearcats to go home with the win. Crete head coach Dave Novak had some words after the game.
There was a run in the third quarter. They made a run and hit a couple threes, and we knew if they did that we'd have a problem. I thought we executed our game plan. We just didn't get it finished. We played hard, and they just made a couple more shots than we did.
So, Scotts Bluff gets the win over Crete. Drew Cookshausen only 2 points in the first half, still able to shoot them back in it in the second half for the win. Let's take a look at the brackets in Class B, show you how the rest of the games shook out today. That one on the bottom, Aurora won by a lot. The final there, 75-46. My goodness, cannot wait to see the Aurora Huskies tomorrow. Aurora Scotts Bluff, are you kidding me? The over-under's been set at 180 in that game. They've already started scoring. They haven't even played yet. Meanwhile, Alliance beats Platteview, another big win out west. And then Gretna, the top seed, played like it today. A dominant victory over Bennington. So the seeds hold in Class B, which, Brandon, went a little bit against trend today.
Yes, it certainly did. And keep your eyes on that Aurora Scotts Bluff game. There is some bad blood between these two teams. Scotts Bluff bounced out Aurora in the semis last year. The whole theme of this season, they had t-shirts, they had mantras for the Huskies. It was unfinished business, channeling the Tom Osborne circa mid-90s. Yep. But they had their eyes set on Scotts Bluff. They want to take care of them. And if it's any time to do it, it's going to be now with this group of seniors that the Huskies have. And if that isn't enough, I don't know, Will, if that's not enough, motivation. Yeah. Motivation, it's getting late. Scotts Bluff knocked Aurora out The past 2 years as well, so it's been 3 trips to state. There was a little break between last year and the 2 other years, but every time in the past 3 trips to Lincoln, it's been Scottsbluff that has ended Aurora's journey.
Yeah, Aurora getting a little sick of seeing Drew Cook's house, and they'll see him one more time tomorrow in the semifinal. The Gretna Dragons are playing real well on the other side of the bracket. Class B kind of up for grabs this year as well. Didn't look that way at the beginning of the year. Looked like Gretna was going to run away with this thing. Then they lost to Aurora. That changes things a bit.
And it was just a 2-point victory that Aurora took down Gretna. We'll be seeing how this Class B plays out. We'll see how everything plays out. Tune in tomorrow at 10 p.m. on the NCN Sports Now State Basketball Show. We'll see you then.
At Midwest Bank, our business service is more than just a place for deposits and loan payments. We are here to help your business run more efficiently and be more successful. You deserve products that will make daily operations smoother and a banker who is working to build a stronger financial relationship with you. Visit your local Midwest Bank branch in Creighton, Norfolk, Pierce, Plainview, and Wisner. Member FDIC.
If you need therapy to recover from a surgery or a sports-related injury, Faith Regional Physical Therapy has a specialist for you.
Not all physical therapy is the same. Choose a team that delivers the best results.
Results come from having an advanced trained therapist working exclusively with you the entire session.
So no matter what type of therapy you need, we have the right specialist for you at Faith Regional Physical Therapy.
I understand that you work hard away from home, and when you get home, it should be comfortable. Hi, I'm Jay from Noakes. Noakes has been keeping people comfortable in southeast Nebraska and northern Kansas since 1960, and our highly trained technicians are available to handle all of your service issues, no matter what brand it is. So call the friendly folks at Noakes today and let us keep you comfortable all year long.
Thank you for watching this live presentation of News Channel Nebraska Sports. We now return to our regular programming.